Howdy, hello, and welcome to Phat Love Talk Podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Zachary, L to the O to the V to the E. That's right, nothing but love from your boy. And I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about what Speedstorm. That's what. And I think that we're going to be talking a lot about this new season because that's the point of today's episode. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into it. So I want to start off by talking about the new racers. And you can see the new racers if you're watching the video version of this. You're going to see that we have anger right above me here, disgust, joy, fear, and sadness. Now, as of the time of this recording, I don't have gameplay, I don't have footage, I don't have information about sadness. She's going to be in part 2 of the season, whereas I've unlocked anger, disgust, joy, and fear. I have all of them ranked up on multiplayer, ranked, and I have them all the way 100% done through the season tour, and we're going to discuss a little bit about that individually, but I want to start off with each individual racer. I think of these options, the worst racer so far of the 4 that we have unlocked is probably going to have to be Disgust. I think Disgust, she summons Broccoli, cool. She doesn't really, she's kind of like how Belle summons the drawers, like the chests and stuff, and as an obstacle. That's great for a situational or a narrow area of the map. That might work well, but I feel like it's the weakest of the abilities. I feel like it's sort of tied with Joy, but I think Joy gets a pass because Joy is going to also get a boost if she collects her orbs, her memories, on the racetrack, which is possible to do, especially if you're ranked up high enough to where you can be competitive. You don't necessarily need to grab those to stay ahead of the pack, but it does give you an edge and maybe a split second win if you get them. So I will rank Joy as the next best racer. I think after that, I would pick Anger. I think his fire is really fire. I think it's really good. I think that it's really situationally fantastic, and especially when he blows the fire off of his head, kind of like how Jafar has his staff and does that same thing. I think it's really situationally, of course, but fantastic. His other one where he's kind of simmers and waits for somebody to cross over, it is what it is. It works sometimes. It doesn't work other times. More times than not, it doesn't work. But the fire on his head, I think, is what puts him ahead of the pack for the other two. And then lastly, I think Fear is the best racer so far of the 4 I've discussed, simply because he gets to be incognito pretty much the entire race if he gets these abilities over and over and over from drops, which can have a pretty high percentage rate because I've gotten them a lot and been pretty untouchable for a large chunk of the race. You have to rely on his top speed and you have to rely on his ability to stay ahead of the pack. But if you can get him leveled up and you can get him to that point, then I don't think there's really an issue with that. Now, I don't want to go into the stats for each individual character. I'm just talking about the special abilities here. And I think that Fear's special ability is the best amongst the pack. And they're all fun to play as. And I love the fact that Speedstorm specifically, the reason why I love this game is because you get to play as these different characters from different Disney IPs and franchises and kind of explore how they kind of fit in, and you get a new map at the same time. Look at how beautiful this map is around me. It's gorgeous, and I think that it's really well done. I think some of the tracks they make them too large for no reason, like the Wreck-It Ralph. That was the biggest, longest track they've ever made, and I think they need to like keep it down so that your every race takes under 3 minutes or right at 3 minutes max. I like the medium to smaller courses. The larger ones, they can of course put more in there, make more variations, but at the same time, you want to balance the fact that as a racing game, you really want to be below or around 3 minutes as a maximum, but that sweet spot would be around 2:15. I feel like, in my opinion, for a track. But I could be wrong. Maybe they're going to add another longer track in the future. Who knows? Maybe if they ever, because Disney owns Star Wars and they own the Muppets and we got Kermit the Frog, and so maybe we'll get some better tracks. I would love maybe a longer Star Wars one where you go through some portals, or maybe you have the ability to do like how Mario Kart added the anti-gravity feature. You can maybe get a cool flying ship. I don't know how that would work. You know how Mario Kart has the gliders and they glide. I'm just spitballing here. If other racing games have done it, it's possible. So I'm hoping that Speedstorm really like does some cool stuff if they ever get to that point in the future and they tackle those franchises, because there's so many maps they could make, and making just one for something as large as Star Wars, or like I know that they're doing a second Pirates of the Caribbean map I think next season after this one. I'm excited for that. So we're kind of going to have to see where that goes and where that takes us. But I digress. I want to move on to the season tour. The season tour has been a big controversy ever since, I want to say, the Aladdin season, maybe the one after that. But I know for a fact it's been a couple seasons now where they've started to make the second half of the season tour from chapter 7 onward very difficult and, in a way, pay to win. I know that the last couple seasons I have not completed the season tour all the way through. I've gotten all the way to, I think I get chapter 7 maybe all the way completed, and maybe Chapter 8 all the way completed, but 9, possibly 10 if they have that for that season, I have not gotten fully completed. Just because the level requirements are so high, and it does kind of make that pay to complete. I wouldn't say pay to win, I would say pay to complete. And that's kind of the problem I have. I think the Season Tour should be free for all players, completable for all players. I think if you want to go into ranked, you want to play other aspects of the game, sure, maybe there's a pay to win aspect in there. I wouldn't like that, but I get how they have to make their money, so it does make sense. A payable aspect has to be in a free to play game to support the game creators, to support the devs, to support the continuation of the title, obviously. Games like Fortnite could probably stop selling products for a year and still be fully funded, but they keep that in the shop because now they're going to keep making Season 30, Season 40, Season 50. The game's never going to stop because of how funded they are, how much money they're making off of that train. And I think Disney Speedstorm has a long road ahead of it. I think it's well supported. I've seen a lot of racers get maxed out to 50 like the day that they come out, because people are paying for shard packs, and those shard pack conversion rates are not good. So they're spending hundreds of dollars just to get one racer up to level 100, or sorry, up to level 50, and get them 5 stars, which I am not prepared to do. I'm actually really, really sticky about, or not sticky, I mean stingy about spending my upgrade tokens, because I only have about 40,000 right now, and they go fast once you start leveling them up higher, above like level 30. So I'm just like, I'm of the mindset now at this point to where I did this last season, and I'm doing this season, minus Vanellope. I did take her to 37, but I'm trying to keep my racers at 35 and then stopping. Once I get to 35, honestly, I'm wondering if I should stop at 30, but I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do 30 or 35, just because I want to have the upgrade tokens for other racers, like the mid-season racer and then future seasons, of course. Um, Generally speaking, the season tour and the limited events don't have level requirements above 30 or 35. Now, there are some events, like Wreck-It Ralph had an event where you had to have Sergeant Calhoun and Ralph at level 40. Absolutely impossible. My Ralph is at 32 and my Calhoun is at 35. I tried to get them as high as possible, but it just isn't feasible to get them to 40 in that limited window of time without paying, and I was not doing that for some, crew shards or whatever. So I just was like, nah, I'll take the L on that. But I know that one example aside, I think 30, 35 is going to be a good stopping point for a lot of my racers. If I have racers above that right now, it's most likely because they were already higher before the conversion happened a few seasons back. My Mickey Mouse, my Mike Wazowski, my Jesse, they're all like 46, way up there, almost to 50, just because I had them leveled up before the conversion happened. And I have enough shards to max out about 5 or 6 of my racers right now. Not going to do it. I don't have the upgrade tokens, first of all. And secondly, there's no events or challenges that require that racer, so I don't have a reason to justify spending those upgrade tokens. But if they ever have an upgrade token, or sorry, if they ever have a challenge that requires a level 40, or God help us, a level 50 racer, and I have to level them up, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Chances are, unless the rewards are well worth the conversion there, I'm probably not going to take part in that. But I digress. The season tour has been pretty egregious about the last couple of chapters, but the first half is always really, really generous and really, really nice. So you do get a lot of unlock tokens for your racers. The new box system they have is very, very nice. I do enjoy that. And I think that the box system is a great addition, and going forward, that should be a staple, just because the upgrade boxes, you get to kind of pick and choose. And right now, in my opinion, Anger is the best option. I have Disgust and I have Anger at the same level right now, and they're kind of my back and forth. I bought one box for Disgust, didn't get a whole lot from it, and so I bought all of my tokens on Anger's boxes after that. So I put one token into Disgust and the rest of my tokens onto Anger, and now I have a competitive Anger, and I like that because I was getting pretty good drops. 5 or 2 shards every other drop. And that was honestly very generous, considering I think it was a 35% chance rate for drops, but I digress. It's just nice to have that. And speaking of those drop rates, I do want to take a quick shout out and say, whoever decided to put the capsules in the events as well, like the Star Chaser events, bravo. That is a really, really good quality of life update, because now I'm spending more time in the game, playing your game, because I want to get the shards, or the chance to get the shards. King Candy's event last season was honestly, I'm glad that they improved on that, because I have 3 crew members completely maxed out from last season because of that King Candy event, and I don't have enough shards to max out King Candy. That drop rate was abysmal, but I still got enough shards to level him up a few levels, and I think he's in the 30s right now, so he's at least decent. But I had so many duplicates from those crew shards, and once you get to that point, the conversion rate is just god awful. So it's just hilarious to me that Speedstorm, or rather not Speedstorm, Gameloft, the creators of it, the Gameloft studio isn't giving us a better conversion rate, because what we do with those season tokens is we put them into the universal box, generally speaking, or we'll buy like the Star Chaser box for 40,000. That's honestly, 2 hits. Let's see what happens. It's not a big deal. It's only 80,000, and you get like well over 1 million in the long run throughout the whole season. So I mean, spending them on the universal box, 10,000 a pop, I think they could give us better than like a 400 trade conversion rate on those coins, but whether or not they do that was yet to be seen. And of course, we're going to see whether or not that happens, probably based on the future, right? Because next season's coming up. But we got to do part 2 of Journey of Emotions first, and after we do that, it's kind of balls in their court, right? But before I ramble on too far into that direction, let's go back to the shop items while we're in that area. Because I think the way that they have the shop kind of done right now is fine. That pay to win aspect's always going to be there, so it is what it is. The crew shards are abysmally, don't buy those. But the upgrade packs, if you want to spend 50, $100, I mean, you could max out a character, so if it's whatever you feel like is justifiable. But I mostly want to talk about the daily items. The daily items are what I care about. What I've noticed is, as I gather a lot of shards, not a lot of shards, as I gather a lot of coins, the seasonal coins, I spend them on shards in the daily refresh. The daily refresh doesn't just refresh every day like you would think. It actually refreshes every few hours, and you have the chance to look at it multiple times in a day. And what I've been doing is I will only ever buy shards for racers or shards for epic crew members, because I haven't unlocked all the epic crew members yet for every racer. So having that chance to possibly get one is really important to me. So that's something that I look for. Now, the only exception to that rule is I have my Figment at a high enough level to where you can have 2 crew members, but I only have 1 crew member unlocked. So anytime that I see a Walt Disney crew member of any rarity, I will buy it, because I want to get one of those extra ones unlocked, because I'm getting diminishing value here. I have 2 slots open for crew members, and I only have 1 crew member. So I want to make sure I can open a slot for that and fill it, whether that be for speed, whether that be for damage, etc. I just need something in that slot to fill up the space. But yeah, I think that's a really great thing. So if you haven't been checking it a couple times a day, I would check it. And they have a timer on the top there that tells you when it refreshes. And kind of just gauge what you're going to be doing around that time. And if you have time to pop on real quick and check that. I know that when the game goes to mobile on July 11th, I will be super duper happy. I don't have a gaming controller or anything, but I know that you can Bluetooth your PlayStation or your Xbox controller, or maybe a third-party controller to your phone, and then you can play via that. And that's going to be really cool, because a lot of the time, if I'm just hanging out and I'm not home, I can check the shop, I can buy those items, I can maybe do a race or two. The races aren't long. That's why I told you the prime race time would be for 2 minutes, 2 minutes 15 for me. Going over 3 minutes, if you're somewhere in public and you don't have 3, 4, 5 minutes to just sit there and play the game for a while, you want to do one quick race. Look, those daily objectives are 24 hours. They are not fun to sit there. If I get home from work and it's 5 o'clock and I can't play until 7:30, I got to wait till 7:30 the next night to do those events again. Or I have to wait till the next day for it to reset, and then I miss kind of, in the long run, a day of attempts. So I want to make sure that I use my time wisely there, and some of the events are 24 hours and some of the events are less than that, but it just kind of depends on what you're doing, right? If you're busy at 7 o'clock one day, can't play, or you're busy at 5 o'clock the next day, can't play, then that totally makes sense. And you're going to have to kind of work around your schedule at that point, or rather the 24 hours that you played most recently. Whereas if you have your phone, you could play it real quick on your phone. You could knock out a couple races. Okay, so the Disgust event, I got 2 races. I can do race 2 times in a day. So I do my 2 races real quick. I'm at the doctor's office. Oh, I'm in the car waiting on somebody to get groceries. I don't know. And you're just hanging out. And you knock out those races. Now, your timer resets from that, because the mobile version and the console version, they speak to each other. You're not going to have a problem there. All your stuff's going to transfer. That's why I'm telling you right now, before July 11th, guys, this is your reminder, make sure you set up your Gameloft account, link it, and then when you go on to the mobile version, there's most likely, when it comes out, going to be an option to put in your Gameloft ID, and it'll pull all your stuff over. So all of my racers, all of my stuff, all of my progress, it's going to link it, and then we're good to go. I'm really excited for that. Hopefully there's not any bugs or mess-ups or any of that crap, but I'm excited for it. I was thinking about buying one of those fancy controllers that you stick around your phone. I forget what they're called, but the backbone controllers, that's what they're called. But maybe not. Maybe I'll just use my Xbox controller that I use on my PC for when I'm playing certain games, or I have a PlayStation controller I could use as well. I'm going to have to figure out how to link that to your phone via Bluetooth, or maybe there's a cable you can plug in and that'll, I don't know. But I digress. The point of the matter is, make sure you guys are on top of that. Check out your Gameloft account so that you're logged in. The next thing I wanted to talk about, though, was the Aladdin tournament is out now. I'm not going to dive into this too much. It's the same as all the other tournaments that have recently come out, but this is the Aladdin characters. There's the season tour, or the tour for the tournament, I guess, the season tournament thing, and it's $8.99 like it always is, or $7.99, I forget exactly. But you get shards for Genie, which is the big one for me because he's my lowest level Aladdin character. So if you think you can justify $8-9 and buying that, more power to you. Your prerogative. Have a good time. I am curious though if they add new racers down the road because, as you may know, Toy Story doesn't have Zurg as a crew member or as a racer, and I'm praying to the gods Zurg will be a racer, probably a brawler. I'm not sure exactly. He could be a trickster, but I am really, really hopeful that his single ability is the tennis balls he shot when he was with Buzz Lightyear on Toy Story 2, and then I'm hoping that his charged ability is something similar to what Gontu does with the ship that flies over. I'm hoping he has like a ship that does something that would be super cool. Maybe he like targets a player like what Jumba does. That would be really cool if a ship just comes down and like stuns the player in first place with a cool ship. It like beams down and stuns him. That'd be sick. That's a speculation, but who knows? We'll see what happens kind of when that does occur. Because I'm 99.95% sure it's a missed opportunity if Speedstorm does not make Zurg a racer in the game on the Toy Story collection. And I'm not sure how they're going to add characters to the tournament if the season, the pass for the Vault Pass, if that already has been created and you won't get any benefit from doing it for the new racer. If they're going to do another new tournament, a refresh on the tournament, charge you another $8 for a different Vault Pass, that would be acceptable in my opinion, because then they're going to have different rewards, different things, maybe the same kind of crew members, capsules, etc. But maybe if they do add a new racer like Zurg to the game, then they have some Zurg shards in that new Vault Pass, and that would be pretty cool. I would probably pay for that. Obviously, I'd budget it, look and see what I have affordable wise. But yeah, Aladdin tournament out now. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. Last thing I want to talk about, guys. I know this has been a longer podcast. I apologize, but I am kind of getting through the points here. Ranked. Now, something new that I've started doing this season is I'm getting all of my seasonal characters, all of my seasonal racers to multiplayer rank 13. Why 13? All right, if the game was up right now, this is a still image behind me. If the game was up right now, I'd show you, but I'll just tell you instead. When you go to the ranked rewards, you get racer shards for rank 2, rank 7, and rank 13. At rank 11, you get a racing outfit. That's pretty cool. But anyway, at multiplayer rank 13, you get 5 racer shards. 7, I think, is 5. And then 2 is, I think, 4 shards. So 5, 10, 14 shards there. If you play the game for a couple hours, you knock out 13 ranks. You don't even have to do it all at one time. I did it in like 3 days for one racer, and then you have all season to do it. So as long as you just prioritize what you want to value. I mean, the Elden Ring DLC just came out recently, so I'm not like prioritizing Speedstorm right now because I want to go into the lanes between, and I want to kind of explore that new DLC I bought. But if you get on there for 30 minutes, whatever, grind out a little bit of ranked, you will not lose ranking until rank 11. You have 2 ranks, 12 and 13, where you can lose rank if you're terrible, if you're not getting a first place position. I think if you get 5th place or worse, I'm not sure about that, but I've never gotten 3rd place or worse. I've always gotten 1st or 2nd. I don't know if that's just the way the game is designed. I know you're playing against other players, but if you get your players that are like level 20 or higher, you shouldn't really have a problem with dropping below a certain rank, and you should always gain. So it's beneficial because you get 14 shards. And here's the reason why I say this. Back in the day, I did not like ranked. It was trash. It was awful. It was too hard. I always came in last place. It wasn't fun. Like, the whole point of a video game is to have fun, right? Some people like hard video games that are challenging. Like Elden Ring is something I like. Some people like shooters like Call of Duty. I love Call of Duty. You see a lot of Call of Duty on my podcast and on my YouTube channel every year when the new campaign comes out. And sometimes I used to stream it back in the day on my YouTube channel. But I just think that everybody should play games for reasons that make them happy and reasons that they kind of enjoy, right? So if you're not having fun, if it feels like it's a chore, why would you want to do it, right? Why would you want to keep coming back? So I just never liked the ranked. I got on, I did the season tour every Friday or every Saturday, the weekend, and I would do the events on a daily basis. So I would spend maybe 2 hours on the game every day, 1 to 2 hours every day, and then on the weekend I would spend a little bit longer than that because I wanted to knock out that season tour and get all of the ribbons and get all the coins and everything you could get from those reward sectors of each chapter. And lately I've noticed that they've made some small improvements to the way the ranking works. It's not perfect, but it does make it more tolerable to kind of get through it. So I'm by no means going to go to Grand Champion. I'm not going to go to rank 40. In fact, I'm not even going to go higher than that. You can get a lot of crew shards, if I'm being honest, from the ranked section, but it's just a time suck. And it's not worth my time. If you ask me personally, I want to play games to have fun. I have other hobbies. I have my podcast. I have my computer. I have my books. I haven't read enough recently. I want to read more. And there's just other things I want to do with my time. Spend time with my fiance, soon to be my wife in 9 weeks. Holy crap, guys. I'm getting married before the end of the year, like a couple months. So I got a lot of stuff that takes up my time, and that's important to me. So the ranked wasn't really a priority. So what I did was I sat down and I was like, you know what? Mike Wazowski is level 47, or sorry, 46. And I have enough shards for him to get him completely maxed up to 50. Same with Jesse. And Jesse's at multiplayer rank 18. But here's the thing. If you max out a character, or through events, Star Chasers, the season tour, whatever, you get enough shards to max out a character to 50, when you play multiplayer ranked, you're getting upgrade coins by like 300, or multiplayer coins by a couple hundred. You get some cosmetics. But the shards for your racer are going to be duplicates, which means they're going to be exchanged for a really crappy 400 multiplayer coin conversion. And that's just not worth it. So my thought is, I'm in the long run, probably going to have enough shards to get every racer eventually up to 50, right? So it's diminishing return for me if I don't spend an hour or so, put some time into the multiplayer, and grab 14 shards. I think you need like 87 or 100 shards or something like that. I forget exactly what it was, to get a character from 0 to 50, right? And you need like a couple 100,000 of the upgrade coins. I'm not even joking. I've said this in a previous podcast. From level 0 to 42 is the exact same amount of upgrade tokens you need from 42 to 50. I'm not even joking. If you want to rank up your character all the way to 42, stop at 42. Do not go past 42. Do not level up your character to 50 unless you have a specific reason or you're paying for it. Because if you're paying for it, you got money, your parents' money, your own money, whatever, more power to you. The game's going to keep being supported because you're putting money into it. That's awesome. Thank you for that. But I'm what they call a casual player. I'm not a free-to-play player. I do spend money on the game. I buy you get some good value. I bought the Star Up pack for Disgust because her event didn't give me enough shards at the beginning to do some of the other challenges for her that gave me more shards. So I bought the Star Up pack, and then I played her on multiplayer all the way to 13, got 14 shards plus the Star Up pack, and then she was comparable, and I got the rest of the shards for her from her event because I was leveled enough to do that. That is kind of a pay to proceed situation, and it's kind of sticky, and you may get lucky with box pulls if you get the seasonal tokens and you put them into her box. But I wanted to rank up Anger because he's only in the season tour. You do not get Anger shards, as far as I know, outside of the season tour. Now, I don't know if he's in the rotation for the daily refresh, and I don't know if they're going to have an event that gives you shards in the second half of the season, or if they give you just more shards in the season tour on the second half. But what I do know is, with that being said, going forward, the event character and the season tour character are the only two characters I'm going to put my tokens into. So I want to make sure that I take the multiplayer rank to 13 so I can get 14 shards. And then, once that's done, chill. Right? Chill. Play the game how you want to play it, but at least get to multiplayer rank 13. That's my rule of thumb. If you want to stop at 7, or it's either 7 or 9. I keep saying 7, but I might be wrong on that. It's either 7 or 9 that you get 5 more shards. But if you want to stop right before it goes into the you could lose multiplayer rank, that's fine. But I think just going 2 ranks into the competitive is totally fine and totally acceptable. But that's just my 2 cents on the subject. I think the new season, overall, Journey of Emotions, I think they've made some really good improvements. It's not perfect. It's still pay to win in a lot of aspects. But the full game, the full experience is not pay to win. There are just certain challenges, certain limited events, certain things that you can pay to advance and pay to get like top for. And what really annoys me is the fact that you can get a character all the way maxed up, then do a limited event race that gives you more shards for a character or a crew member or whatever, and you can just pay to be at the top of the 10%. It's really, really hard to get the top 10% of limited races when people are paying to get up there. You're just inherently faster with your stats higher because you're ranked up to a higher level. That's just the way it works. But I digress. I can go on about that for a while, and I just will not do that. But if you guys want, play some ranked, get to 13, and then chill. That's my advice. That's what I'm doing going forward. I'm going to go back to a few previous characters like Eve and Hortensia. Those are 2 of my lowest characters. They were mid-season releases, and if anybody has played the game for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that Hortensia and Eve were done dirty. And I'm not even level 30 for either one. So I'm going to get them up to 13 on ranked, and I have Oswald finally at 30, because I've been doing the daily refresh for the daily racer boost, and I've been doing a rotation. Eve, Hortensia, Jafar, Wally. I've been doing Wally, and then I've been doing Oswald, and when I get them higher, I always go with the lowest level racer. And then if there's two racers with the lowest level, like right now I think Hortensia and Eve are both 27, I go with whoever has the most shards. And then I'll focus on that person and then level them up and kind of go from there. But hopefully, if I get them all to MPR 13, then I can get those 14 shards, level them up a few more, get them to level 30, and then they're comparable, right? Hopefully there won't be a race in the season tour, which there has been in the past, where I think Oswald had to be at level 35, and I was at like 25 back in the last season when that happened. The whole debacle with Oswald and Kermit the Frog, if you know, you know. And so I had to like really kind of figure out what I wanted to do, and then I got there. But it is what it is, guys. It's a fun game. I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. That's what matters. Hopefully you guys are having fun too. This has been a long conversation. I really appreciate you guys taking the ride with me. This has been Phat Love Talk. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the next one.